welcome to another edition of the DeanHouston Inspire podcast. I'll be your host for today's episode. I'm Eric Hurt, the Senior Director of Content. And joining me today are our summer interns. We have Eddie, Emma, Grace, and Avani. So to get things off, obviously, thanks for joining the podcast. And it'd be good to go around the horn and introduce yourselves. Tell me who you are, a little bit of your background, and then also why you decided to join DeanHouston for a summer internship. So go ahead, Eddie. I'll let you kick it off since you got the mic in front of you.
All right, awesome. Let's do this thing. My name is Eddie Kammerer. I'm a senior at Ohio University, currently majoring in marketing. I'm a Cincinnati native, so it was nice to work close to home. Kind of how I got into this. My dad works for a company called OPW, which is a client of DeanHouston. And he's made a lot of great relationships over the years with them. He absolutely loves DeanHouston. He's great friends with Dale, a bunch of other people that work here. So that kind of set up just getting the interview. And then after that, it was kind of in my own hands. But yeah, that's kind of how I got here. And yeah, that's me.
I'll go next. My name's Emma Falci, and I'm a senior, and I go to Xavier University. Go Muskies. I am studying marketing and French. The French is just for fun, but I definitely want to pursue marketing. I kind of got into the internship in kind of a random way. I was interested in some sort of marketing agency work, but I wasn't sure how to get there. So I started just looking up agencies in Cincinnati and shooting them emails. So DeanHouston was the first one to get back to me. They got back to me super quick and I was already impressed. So that's how I ended up here.
My name is Grace Normand. I am going into my freshman year at Taylor University, and I'm going to major in communications. And I got here because my mom works here. She's a VP of HR, and I was interested in trying out kind of the content side and looking into social media. And then I actually ended up working mostly with the media team, not even content, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. And I learned a lot about it. So yeah, I've enjoyed my time here.
Hi, I'm Avani Deshmukh, and I am going into my second year at the University of Cincinnati, studying marketing. And I have a similar story to Eddie, is my dad also worked for OPW. And so that's how I kind of came to know about DeanHouston over the years, getting to have a relationship with Dale, learning about the company. So when it came for my first summer, I knew I wanted to get an experience in the marketing space, and what better place than a marketing agency. So I reached out and I'm here this summer. Yeah.
Good deal. So as you guys know, like during your onboarding process and everything else, like one of the things DeanHouston prides itself on is our company culture. So how would you guys describe, what you've learned about the culture at DeanHouston over your time, with the company? Whoever wants to kick it off, go for it.
Yeah, so the culture here at DeanHouston is absolutely incredible. From the first day that we walked in here, when the new office opened, it was definitely, you could kind of feel the energy. It's a place that people wanted to come into, they wanted to work. And it was all very welcoming. Family is kind of a cliche word for that kind of thing, but it honestly does feel like that. And specifically being an intern and in that position, it kind of, the culture speaks for itself when, they want to see you succeed. They're there for you. They want you to succeed for yourself, but, if you're succeeding here, that in all benefits the company. And just giving you those tools, having people to show you the ropes is a huge thing that just makes you feel comfortable and, ready and willing to come into work. And I think that's something special that you probably don't get everywhere. So that's pretty much how I would describe it from my experiences.
Yeah, I would kind of say something similar to that. Very welcoming from the very first day, even when we weren't in person and we started online. All of the managers in the onboarding process were extremely helpful, always willing to, help us learn. You can go to anyone in this office and ask them to help you and teach you about what they do. And everyone's more than happy to help you through that process. And definitely is really helpful as an intern when you're just trying to start out and get an idea of everything going on, especially in such a busy agency.
Yeah, everyone's super helpful. And I feel like as an intern, you're kind of shy because you don't want to be bothering anybody and you don't want to go like, hey, can you show me this? Can you show me that? But during the onboarding process, like, I think everyone we talk to is like, come to me if you have any questions. I'll show you this. I'll show you that. Even though you're not supposed to be with this department, like, come around and I can give you things to do. So yeah, I'm super friendly.
I definitely agree with all of that. I've also seen just such a strong sense of motivation within this company. Everybody is super dedicated to the work that they do, and I've never seen any small detail go unnoticed. Like every small piece of every project is taken care of. I'd also say it's just like such a strong relationship-based company, both with the people here in the office that work for the company and for the clients. I've seen that they really value the relationships that they build here, and that's something that's been really cool to see.
Great. Yeah, one of the best things about doing an internship is you kind of get to experience a wide range within the company. So what are some of the things that you've learned? And then what are some of the things like you've learned that you don't want to do in your future? Like, for instance, you mentioned like you really like content. Like, so is content something you want to stick with, or did you figure out like, through my internship, I'm not really big on content anymore. I actually gravitated more towards the web team or, you know, because each one of you were kind of interning with a different, you know, core competency group. So what are some of the things you've learned? And then also like, what are some of the things you've learned that you don't like about marketing?
It's a really good question. I would say, I think originally when coming in, I had a really strong want to do client relations, and that's the team I'm working on right now. I thought that was really the way I was going and didn't really have my mind open to many other options. But getting to work with Abby and the social media team, I really enjoyed like just that whole process. I got to look at competitors and come up with some of my own creative ideas. Never did I think I would be able to do that or want to do that, but definitely something I'm looking in the future to continue doing, either DeanHouston or other places. But I'm definitely more open-minded rather than I kind of went the other way. Instead of what I don't like, I realized, you know, I opened my mind up to more areas that I think I'd be interested in furthering and pursuing more.
I would say it was kind of almost the opposite experience for me. I walked in here and they were like, well, what team do you want to be on? And I was like, anything. Like, I'm just happy to be here. I am kind of just like a general marketing major at Xavier, so I've never really had like a strong interest in one thing or the other. So I am on 2 different teams. I'm on demand gen and web team, kind of just like doing whatever they need me to do. And I kind of started writing down some things that I've learned, and I realized like quite how much I've learned over the past like couple weeks has been honestly insane. Something I thought was really cool was I've had the opportunity just in my free time to learn some HubSpot certifications, which if you don't work for a company that uses HubSpot, they cost like a ton of money. And as a college student, like I'm not willing to pay that. And I've earned 3 in just the past few weeks. Being able to work on those is obviously huge for building your resume and marketing. I've also gotten a lot of hands-on experience doing like client projects using like Google Analytics, Excel, and lots of other cool things like that. The other week, I actually got to work on like a paid search and a pay-per-click campaign, which I don't think many people my age can say they've done before. So being given those opportunities to work on actual like projects and things like that has given me such like valuable tools to carry with me into the future.
Yeah, I think I kind of ended up more open-minded because I was originally supposed to be with just the content team. And they asked me to start early and work for the media team because they needed somebody. And I was like, sure, but I don't know what they do. I had like 0 clue at all as to what they did. So I basically learned all about what they do, like front, back, center. I've learned all of that. And I think it's really interesting. And I don't really know exactly what I want to do in the future, but I would definitely consider that now because it's fascinating how much I was able to learn about it. the strategy behind how they place the ads and what publications they're choosing to get our clients' names out there and noticed in that industry, I think is really interesting. And I wasn't planning on learning any of that. So
Yeah, being a marketing major, last year, I think I kind of really found what I wanted to focus on from an account management side of things. I took a class I really enjoyed, and that was definitely the one thing that I knew I wanted to focus on. So coming here, it was really my first experience being able to, try that out and see what the day-to-day stuff is like. And, from that, I learned that, it's a lot more than just stuff in the classroom. Yeah, that helps, but really getting that hands-on work, whether it's, the communicating with your clients, developing those relationships, or working on those projects. But then also on the other side of thing, that's not as personal, is a lot of, organization stuff and planning and, looking ahead and having dates and deadlines, and just being able to hit all of those. And a lot of the day-to-day stuff was something that I wasn't expecting, but, that's something I learned now and I know. And I definitely learned about, hitting back on the culture, that this is the kind of place that, I want to work. I enjoy coming in here. And I think that's a big thing that you learn from an internship. So I think, we're all pretty grateful that, we were able to find this pretty early on.
Yeah, good answers. Yeah, so I'm assuming before you guys started with DeanHouston, nobody really had any real world experience like in a marketing, or advertising agency. So coming into the company, you really didn't know what to expect, especially a B2B advertising agency, which is a little different than B2C. So what have you learned about B2B marketing, and what kind of surprised you about the type of marketing we do for industrial companies?
I've learned that like maintaining and valuing client relationships is absolutely key. Making sure that your customers are happy is really important to not only keeping those customers, but also getting more. Making sure that they're, talking about their happy experiences with us. So I thought that was really interesting. And I've never had any B2B experience before. Prior to this, a lot of my classes, we do a lot of hands-on projects, but it's all been B2C. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I still think it can be really exciting, even if you're working with things that you may not be the audience for. Like just the other day, I was on my computer and a pop-up ad for Autolite came on and I was like, oh, look at this. Like it was exciting. And I think that's not just something you can experience in B2C. I think it's still cool to see such amazing finished products, and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think your college classes have prepared you to like join the workforce now, or is like were you surprised how different it is from between like kind of like perception to reality?
In some ways, I think it has prepared me really well. I think at my school, we do a lot of hands-on stuff that really helps me beef up my resume, but also like actually know what to expect when walking in an office. In some ways, no, I think a lot of the technical skills I've learned here, like pay-per-click and all that stuff, like you don't learn that in school really. So I'd say a lot of the like skills themselves, I have learned here that I didn't have the opportunity to do in school. But I think the kind of like strategic thinking and all that kind of stuff that goes into it, I definitely had also experienced prior.
Yeah, I was going to say like, I agree. I feel like honestly, like, everything in class is kind of like the foundation of very base level stuff. And then, everything off of that is like, it's when you come here that you really build upon that. So, they kind of just get you ready. And then once you're thrown into it, you kind of got to think back and, kind of remember stuff that, they told you. Because it's not all very specific. It's very vague stuff that situational that depending on what you're doing, is where those things are going to come in handy. Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like I can't really speak much on it just because, I just have gone through my first year. I went through just one marketing course, just very intro to marketing that everyone has to take. And although those classes, I'm assuming as I get into my coursework, as you guys have gotten to take classes throughout the years you've been in college, it will definitely help. But I think based off what I came in with, I had to learn a lot here. yeah, it was a lot of learning. I think my classes kind of were more centered B2C, general marketing, but this is very different in the sense of it's more about the client relations, making sure that you're giving them the best product. You're not trying to get the consumer to buy your product. You're just trying to keep that relationship with your client and get their message across, which definitely very different than what I came in thinking. But it's been a great learning experience, seeing how that works.
I can't speak to what I've learned in school because I haven't started yet, but something that surprised me about the B2B, like in marketing to industrial industries, is how niche some of their industries are. Because I'm used to looking at things just as a consumer, I think there's not much of a market for this, or like, how do you get this out to the right people? But being in media and seeing where we're placing ads, and there's all of these magazines just for transporting hazardous cargo and car wash systems, there's entire magazines and newsletters for them, and it amazed me how much of that there was. So, and I also learned that those people in those industries are very passionate about what they do and they're really into it. And that's why there's so many different publications for them.
Yeah, I think, another thing that I thought was really interesting that I had no idea until, starting and, getting into work and stuff is kind of, the possibilities that, you have when marketing these products in industrial, in industrial marketing, thinking of some of these out of the box ways to market a windshield wiper or, an oil filter and things like that. And I think that's what kind of makes it fun too, because, sometimes those, out of the box ideas are the ones that end up working the best because no one's thinking like that. But then when someone sees it, they're like, wow, that's a great idea. Like, who thought of that, but I think that's really interesting, just all the different ways and the creative stuff and design and, the stuff they create, is incredible and it looks awesome. And I think it's really cool.
So at DeanHouston, we have a few different mottos, and one of our mottos, that has been around ever since I've been with the company. So, when the company first started is, whatever it takes. And that's something that we pride ourselves on, within the company. So over your time here, like, what does that mean to you? And have you seen some examples, that you've done or people within the company have done to kind of go above and beyond and do whatever it takes to keep the client happy and get the job done?
Yeah, I would definitely say I've seen times where, clients have said, we really need this in a day or two and it gets done. Whether that means, pushing off some other projects in certain departments. For example, like I know she has a lot of work to do and every day it's a new project where she's like, I need this now or I need this tomorrow. And, they make sure that it's done and it's done very well. And so definitely holding up that, also the Platinum DeanHouston, service, with the quality of work as well as the speed at which it gets done. So yeah.
Any thoughts?
Go for it.
Okay. I'd say I've definitely seen that even just the work that I've done. Sometimes people come to me and say, hey, the client really needs this done. And I'm like, do they? And they're like, oh, well, they just mentioned it, but we thought we'd still include it anyway. Like getting all of those little things done that like may not be a necessity for the client, but they still mentioned it could be nice. And we still do it anyway, even if it takes us extra time or extra effort. When I started, one of my tasks was to look up like all these different types of trucks in America. And I was like, why am I doing this? And they're like, oh, the client thought it would be good to have. So even just being able to do those smaller tasks that the client thinks might be nice or might be helpful for them, definitely for me shows the dedication we have to like making those clients feel like, they're being helped as much as possible. I'd say definitely I can see a negative to it sometimes in the way that like, people really feel like they have to put like 1,000,000% into everything they do. And sometimes that work-life balance might be a little sacrificed there. But I think it really does demonstrate the level of care that every person has at this company, to making sure that the clients are happy and getting what they need.
Yeah, the whatever it takes, going that extra mile, putting in that extra effort, is that difference that, you want, that, that someone else is not going to give. I think that's the biggest difference with, that motto, is really doing whatever it takes because, someone out there isn't going to do that. And, just seeing it, internally, whether, you are slammed and you have a project coming up and, it's taking a little bit longer and you have a deadline to hit, everyone willing to help with that just to hit that deadline is something that's super awesome. Everyone's always willing to work. If someone's on PTO or they're out, someone's always there to help out, even if it's not, the main account they're working on or anything like that. People are there to help to get that, make that deadline and do whatever it takes. I've been fortunate enough to work with different Eric than our gracious host over here. Eric, I shadowed Eric Miller. He's one of the account managers here, and he was awesome. I was very, blessed to be able to work with him and see how he, has relationships with clients. And it's kind of great because, he's developed such a strong, friendship almost with these people. And, when it comes to the account management side, kind of knowing what they like and don't like. So getting ahead of that schedule and almost just doing it without them even asking yet and just having it prepared. It's almost like a wow moment. I can't believe, like, I like that. I think that's a difference. And that's kind of doing the whatever it takes. Cause, if they like it, that's great. You had it done ahead of time and, they appreciate that, them. And then if they don't like it, well, still all right. We'll try something else. So yeah, I think it's, great motto. A lot of great mottos here. There's a lot of them, but it's a great one.
Yeah, I think the people here are really dedicated. I can attest to the fact that everyone that I've worked with, even when they're on PTO, they're responding to emails, they're taking calls, they're making sure if anybody needs them for anything, they're available, they can get you the information that you need. And I can tell when I walk into work if it's like a normal day or if it's a drop everything day by kind of like the mood of my team. But they're very dedicated. They get it done whatever the client needs, and within reason. Because I know Emma kind of mentioned the negative of that, and I think that at least on my team, we have a good level of like, we don't overpromise. Like, we're gonna be honest of if we can get this done, but we're gonna do everything in our power to get it done and do what the client wants. And I've also been a part of some of those projects where it's just kind of not a necessity, but the client said it would be nice or they'd like to have it. So it is great to be able to participate in that because sometimes I'm doing it would be nice part, because they don't have time to do it. So it's nice to know that I get to help provide that service to the client and they're getting what they'd really like to see.
Good. So as your internships kind of come to a close here shortly, so what are your future plans? And then do you think, after this experience, you'll continue to pursue a career in marketing or something, advertising related?
Well, as for me, I still gotta finish up school. Got another 4 or 5 years ahead of me. I definitely, after this internship, definitely want to continue in the marketing area. I mean, marketing is very vast, many different avenues you can go down. So I'm really going to use, my time at school to pursue those avenues and better learn what I want to do. But definitely sticking with marketing. Yeah.
Seniors over here unfortunately have to tackle this question very soon.
Graduate, not a real job.
Who wants to do that? Right?
Oh boy. But I'm definitely gonna pursue marketing considering I'm this close to finishing my degree. I would love to work at an agency. I am kind of thinking like maybe like brand strategy or something like that. Last semester I took a class with that and I really enjoyed it and I found I kind of had a knack for it. But I also really think that some of the skills I have here could really back up what I'm doing, even if I'm not like on a web team or something like that. I definitely feel like I can use those skills to help me when I'm kind of looking for my job search post grad. But yeah, I've definitely really enjoyed kind of the fast pace, like whatever it takes kind of vibes of agency life. So I would love to do something like that in the future.
Yeah, like Emma was saying, the seniors, our fun's coming to an end. Future plans, go back, finish up school, get my marketing degree, really thoroughly enjoy my senior year before, like Eric said, before I have to go get a job and,
From the real world.
yeah, join the real world, but these last 2 months have been such a crucial part, I think, in my journey of, finding out what I want to do. Knew it was marketing, had an interest in account management. And then this has really been a reinforcing part that I know that is what I want to do now, which I know that is a very hard thing for, people in college and people coming up to their graduation, like really finding out what they want to do with the rest of their lives. So I feel very grateful that I know that I have a direction that I want to go in. And, I got to find those opportunities. But yeah, I'm going to stick in marketing. I like what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm doing. And I'm excited for the future. Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, unlike the seniors, I have a lot of time left. So I'm just kind
Enjoy
of
it.
keeping it open.
It goes by fast.
I'm just gonna keep it open for now. I'm not really sure. I really enjoyed my time with the media team, and I could see myself doing something like that in the future or working in an agency, but I could also see it going in a different direction. So I'm just going to keep my options open, and then I'll be crammed to decide like you guys in senior year.
So last question, and we kind of just touched on this, but if you could do anything you wanted, with no restrictions, what would your dream job be?
I have never had a good answer for this. I'm like someone who's just like pretty good at like everything except for math, where I'm like terrible at. So like I've never had like a clear answer to this. Though when I was little, I told people I wanted to be Tinkerbell, which was a little tough to find a job for. But it's not entirely out of the picture. But I don't know. Probably something like marketing, branding, something like that. I would love an opportunity where I could like travel a lot. I'm also a French major just for fun. So to make use of that would be kind of interesting because in my mind right now, I don't think I'd be using it, but I think it would be cool if I could. So maybe some sort of agency or run my own perhaps, where I could travel and explore the world, I think would be really cool.
I kind of piggybacking off of that. Sorry. Something definitely marketing. I think I really like the branding avenue as well. But a job, I would really love to travel and, perhaps leave Cincinnati as I live here, go to school here. So doing something cool somewhere cool.
I think for me, I don't have like a specific job title, but I'd love to do something where I can incorporate my major in communication and also my hobbies and like something else that I really love. I really love NFL football, so if I could do something like with them in the future,
Yeah,
that would probably be the dream.
awesome.
That's the dream.
For the Bengals, right?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't know about that one. No, dream job. I don't know. I'm obsessed with podcasts, and this is why I was so excited for this because I listen.
I've been on this.
Yeah, I was so excited to do this. Like I listen to like 5 or 6 different podcasts a week. I love video creation and filming and stuff like that. And it was always just kind of the dream job to have a podcast and do, content creation video wise. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, it's always in the back of my mind if I, just start up my own. But, that's why it's the dream job.
This is the first step.
Yeah, I know this is the first step.
Your dad
Once-
has a podcast now. called
Yeah,
the
the
fueling
fueling,
station.
yeah,
so-
yeah, he makes me listen to it. But yeah, that's the dream. And that's why this was so awesome, and I had so much fun doing this. But that's the dream job. So maybe one day you guys see me pulling up top of the charts with Joe Rogan and all them, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And the Inspire Intern Edition podcast. Yeah, great.
Yeah, so I mean, on behalf of basically everybody at DeanHouston, I'd like to thank you guys for all your hard work, over the summer, and it was much appreciated. Hopefully you learned a lot, and now again you pursue something in marketing. I think obviously I did. It's turned out pretty well for me. So yeah, hopefully you guys just continue, and maybe I see you back here someday working for us and joining the DeanHouston team. So thank you, and thanks for joining the podcast. Hopefully all the listeners learned something and enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Eric.